Hi there everybody, it's UK independent demonstrator Halsey here from slimandstylish.com. Thank you for joining me today. Today I'm going to be making this note card, which is a sort of case. It was inspired by the annual catalogue. So in the annual catalogue, where it advertises this absolutely gorgeous basket of blooms set, they have this card at the top, which I fell in love with. So I decided to try and make my own version. And this is what I've made. So I'm using the Basket of Blooms photopolymer stamp set, and this coordinates with this gorgeous punch. Love this. And the monogram messages I'm using for the sentiments. So I'm using hello because Basket of Blooms hasn't got any sentiments in. So let me show you how to put this card together. First of all, this is a new in colour. This is Cinnamon Cider. So I have got my card all ready. This is a normal A5 piece of paper scored in half to create my card base. I've also grabbed some DSP that is in Cinnamon Cider. So this is out of the, oh, I know the name of this. I know it. It's season flowers. Flowers for every season. It's this stamp, this DSP here, and it's 6x6, and it has all the new in colours in. So this was the DSP I used before, which was the stripes, which had poinsettias on the back, and this one here is the DSP I'm going to be using this time, which is sort of like the check, and it's got daisies on the back. Okay, so I've already cut that down to size, and I'll give you all the measurements in a second. I also have a piece of Whisper White cardstock, and I've also got 2 scrap pieces of Whisper White. This one here is to stamp and punch the flowers on. This one here is for the hello, and actually you're going to need another one for the pot. I forgot that. I'll just grab that in a second. Okay, so the sizes you need for these, if you're in the UK, it's 8.5 centimetres by 13 centimetres. If you're over using inches, it's just over 3, well, it's 3 3/8 really by 5 1/4. The Whisper White sheet that I've got that I'm going to be using as the background is 7 centimetres by 11 centimetres, and in inches that's 2 3/4 inches by 4 3/8 of an inch, and that's just going to sit on there like that. So let's get going. I'm just going to use this piece first, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the fern that's on the stamp set. I do really love all of the greenery bits in this, but this is the one I'm actually going to be using, and I'm going to stamp that on here twice. So I've got my Memento ink. I'm going to do all my stamping first, and then I'm going to come back and colour. So I'm going to set this off towards the side, like that, and then I'm going to do another one, which is just towards the top there, like that. Okay. On this little strip here, I'm going to use the hello. So the monogram messages stamp set is actually a cling stamp set, so it's a little bit different to the photopolymer that I'm using for the rest, but I'm just going to pop the hello on there. I'm not going to cut it down yet, and on this strip I'm going to stamp 4 of the flowers, and instead of using this thick one here, I'm going to use a slightly thinner one because I want the colour to show through more than the stamping. So I'm just going to do 4 of those, and as a heads up, you want to stamp them like that, in that direction, because that's how the punch coordinates with it. So save having to move your punch around. I'm just going to do another one because I will be punching it and that's a bit too close. Yeah, that's how the punch lines up in that direction. Whereas if you've kind of got them off at a side, it's going to be a bit more awkward. Okay. And then another piece of Whisper White I wanted for the basket. I'm just going to grab a scrap sheet. I've grabbed a scrap, but I'm not sure if that's actually big enough for my pot. It's not, so I'll use a spare card base. Okay, and then also the stamp set does have this really sort of cute twine bit, so I'm going to stamp that around my pot. Okay, but I'm actually going to do that after I have blended it. So I've got one more piece to stamp, and I'm just going to pop that on the side and do the blendings first. So for this, the colours that you're going to need, this is the brand new Magenta Madness blends, which are for these flowers. Up here I'm using Granny Apple Green, nice and bright, and down here I'm going to stick with a cinnamon cider that is actually on the card, and I've got my colour lifter and I've got the light smoky slate. Okay, so for this one here I'm just going to come down on this side where the shadow is with the dark. Do love colouring in. It gives me so much fun. I find it really relaxing. Okay, so that's how I'm starting off, and then I'm going to cover the whole pot in the light. Don't worry about it being streaky and having lines. I'm just doing it so the whole pot is covered. There's a few bits I'm going to keep going over, so you will miss those lines eventually. I just wanted to get rid of all of the white that's on there. Okay. Then I'm going to go over the dark bit and I'm going to blend it back. Okay. Keep going. So you can see now you're really not seeing those stripes that was on there first. It's just blended in quite nicely. And then I'm going to come over again with the dark because I want to really build this colour up. And push that out. Okay. And then one more time over all of it with the light. Our blends are just so beautiful. I love this brush tip. It's so lovely. Okay, so it looks like it's got a bit of a shadow on it. And then I'm going to use the colour lifter just on this edge over here, really lightly, to bring that out even more. Okay, hopefully you can see that. I'm trying to bring the light a bit nearer so that you can see. Smoky slate, I'm just going to go around the edges so that when I fussy cut this out, it kind of looks 3D. It doesn't matter about thickness because you're going to be fussy cutting it eventually anyway. So that's my pot and my hello. I'm now using the Magenta Madness and I'm just going to pop a few streaks up each part of the petal with the dark. That's the one I'm ignoring because it's not going to have an even punch line on that one. And then over it with the light. Now I'm not going to go around this one with a smoky slate like I usually do because I do want the sort of white sort of framing to still be there. I think quite like the effect of that. This Magenta Madness, by the way, is so bright. It's gorgeous. If it's too bright for you, because I know I've had some people say that they think it's too bright, you can always go down. You can use Melon Mambo, or you can use one of the reds, Poppy Parade, something like that. Or you could use Flirty Flamingo, but for me, this is my sort of colour. I love this colour. So once you've finished them, you're going to go onto the ferns, and we're doing those with a dark and light Granny Apple Green. Okay, so with the dark, you just want to colour on that sort of side of the, I don't know what you call it, vein of the leaf, I suppose, maybe. I'll bring it up to the camera so you can see where I've put the dark. But I mean, as you can see, you kind of cover these with the flowers and with the pot, so it is just more for background detail. But just because it's background detail doesn't mean it shouldn't be, you know, coloured properly and correctly. Sorry, I said I'd bring it up to the camera, and there you go, sorry. I'm not blending these in, I'm just getting the bits that are white. I quite like the two-tone effect of the dark and light next to each other on these. Okay. So finally, I'm just going to add the little bit of twine that I mentioned around here with the memento. I'm ever so sorry if you see my head, but I just want to make sure this is lined up. There we go. Isn't that cute? Such a good idea. It's one of those stamps that if it wasn't there, you wouldn't miss it, but now it's there, it's like awesome. So I like that. I'm just going to fussy cut out my pot, and I'm a bit annoyed with myself because these are, there's a reason these have the chain on here. These are my adhesive scissors, so when I use my adhesive and the adhesive's still wet and I need to cut it, I use these scissors, so they're a bit more jauntier than my normal scissors. But these are the ones I've put on my table, so I'm a bit miffed with myself over that. I like having a nice sharp pair of paper scissors. And our snips are amazing. It is just because I've used these when cutting dimensionals and things. Okay, so you can see that that's going to go there. The punch, this makes this so quick and easy. Check this out. You can do all 4 of them within seconds. 1, 2, 3. The only thing is it's quite powerful, so they do shoot quite a way. Keep your eye on them. Okay. And my hello. So I'm just going to chop that sort of there. And I'm going to just chop it a little bit off at the top as well. These silly scissors. Does anyone else have scissors like that? Like ribbon scissors and paper scissors and then glue scissors and scissors for all occasions. So dimensionals. Just going to pop a couple on there. 1, 2. And you can check where you stick in them, so both ferns do actually go into the basket. I keep calling it a basket. It's because it's called the basket of blooms. It's actually a pot. My mum is a really avid gardener. She'd be watching this going, that's not a basket. She'd also be able to tell me what flowers everything is as well. I'm really bad. I'm just like, it's a flower. I'm an inside girl. I like my crafting and being indoors. My mum is a garden lady. So there we go. Then for these are really cute. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to use my Tombow, and I'm just going to pop the glue in the centre of 2 of them, and then I'm going to pop those on, but lining them up so you've got a gap in the back so it looks like a really full flower. And I'm using the Tombow so you can wiggle it around. Sure, that's the professional term, by the way, for that. So I picked up a dimensional, and with my glue scissors that we know I've got here, I'm just going to cut it in half and pop this up. And I'm going to make sure that I put the dimensionals more on the low side, because this is going to go over there, so I don't really want them towards the end. Hello. Okay, once these are dry, you want a dimensional on the back of each. Stick them down. So that one I put overlapping the pot, and this one I put towards the top. Now, what I did then was I used my paper piercer, and I used the bottom bit here, and I really just pushed those in to the dimensionals so that it made it sort of flute a little bit. It popped it out rather than as being flat. They're now raised, and I much prefer that. I have our coloured in colour dots. So this is the bumblebee. Oh dear. I broke it. Okay, we'll ignore that one. Hopefully that one doesn't do it. If that ever happens to you on yours, by the way, let me know if you've purchased them from me. And I'll get some more sent out to you. Okay. And cinnamon cider here. So these are all the new in colours, which I think are fabulous. Bumblebee, cinnamon cider, misty moonlight, just jade, and magenta madness. that's funny about that dot. I will get that off my finger. Okay, and then it's just sticking this now down to your card base, and that's pretty much your card done. I do like this card. As soon as I saw the samples in the catalogue before I even looked at the Basket of Blooms stamp set, and I think if I hadn't have seen the samples, I perhaps wouldn't have bought the stamp set. But as it was, I fell in love with the samples, and I was like, that stamp set is coming to my house. I'm going to create with that. And I couldn't wait to get to play with the card. So it's the Basket of Blooms photopolymer stamp set. And there is the matching punch. And then it's monochrome messages that I use for the sentiment, okay? You can purchase any of those from my store, slimandstylish.com. Just go up to the header and click buy. Don't forget to use the hostess code. It is on my website. Here is June's, but if you're looking at this at any other time in the month, go to my website and it's on the right hand, other time of the month, other time of the year. Go to my website, it's on the right hand side, and if you use that when you actually place your order, you get a special thank you product gift from me. If you've liked the video, do subscribe for more. And if you're crafting at home and you want to show me your bits and pieces, I actually have a crafting sharing group over on Facebook, which is Slim and Stylish's Crafty Hangout. There's quite a few paper crafters in there, but there's other crafters, knitting, crocheting, all the rest. Just come and say hello, drop in what you're making, and have a little networking session. We'd love to see you. Thanks for joining me today, and I'll see you soon. Bye.